Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Bugrock of the Week. Today we're going to be taking a look at all of the weirdest and strangest bugs in the 1.11 update for the Bedrock edition of Minecraft, also known as the Village and Pillage update. There's a lot of really strange and kind of creepy bugs in this update that I'm not too fond of, but they're also kind of fun as well, so hopefully you guys do enjoy today's episode. If you haven't seen the previous episode, that is where we take a look at all of the biggest, baddest, most game-breaking bugs in the Village and Pillage update for the Bedrock edition. There's a lot of serious bugs in that episode. Highly suggest checking it out if you have not already. Links are where you would expect them to be, of course. But without further ado, let's hop into today's episode, shall we? So our first bug has to do with sponges not entirely removing all the water around them, and this really only happens with bubble columns, either from soul sand or of course magma blocks. I haven't seen it happen with normal water or anything else like that, but it's still kind of a strange one. So if we just go ahead and place this in the middle of this tube in here, you'll see that it removes most of the water, except the water that's actually touching the sponge. So this is kind of a way to get like pseudo water that's never gonna update. It's kind of just like carbonated water, if you know what I mean. Let's go into survival real quick. You can see that we can actually swim in this stuff, and yeah, it doesn't really drown you or anything. I'm curious what happens if you're on fire. Hold on, let me get myself on fire. Playing with fire accomplished, and let's hop into the water. And yes, that's exactly what I expected. I love the pseudo water. I've seen this on every platform now, and it always does the same thing. It doesn't actually put out fire, so if I were to put like a piece of netherrack right here and then light this on fire, I would still be on fire, but also in water. So yeah, this is great. I love this. It's so fun, and I have regeneration right now, so I'm never gonna die. I'm just always gonna have these weird sounds in my ear while still being on fire. Unfortunately, this water does go away if you relog the game, so it's not permanent, but it's still pretty fun to mess around with. So the next bug has to do with armor stands, and these are kind of like super creepy armor stands. So let's just go ahead and deck that guy out in some diamond gear, and then we're gonna go ahead and give him invisibility using a command. So this is creative only, but once you do that, you'll basically get a sword and shield that just basically follows you wherever you go. It will unrender if the armor stand is no longer within your sight, but it's still very, very strange. Like, why is there a shield there? Why is it enchanted? Why do we have a sword? Can we switch out that sword? Oh, we can. Yeah, it's just super strange. So it works with any item, of course, and you can, of course, change the position of the guy. So yeah, very, very strange. This thing is just like following you. It's like you have a knife going into your back. So the position of where the shield is relevant to you is actually based on where you're standing when the armor stand gets invisibility. So as you can see, now it is like facing upwards and it's super close to us. If we were to stand further away from the armor stand and give it invisibility, that shield would be further away from us, and we can't interact with that. Of course, it's out of my range, I can't reach it, and it doesn't actually do anything. Like, we can dunk that thing in lava and it doesn't do anything. It's purely a visual glitch. So this is actually way more strange of a bug than you might think. So we can put down another armor stand. As you can see, he's now holding the sword and the shield, and we can just keep on moving this thing around. So this is really strange. This is just a default armor stand as well. I'm not doing any glitchiness or craziness here. This guy is just truly weird. And the sword actually stayed over there. No, nope, it's moving around. This is super creepy. It's super duper creepy. But we can do that again. Now the shield is over there. Yeah, I don't know about this one. It's just like, it reminds me of the Weeping Angels. It's too creepy. So you might be wondering if this works with invisibility potions, but sadly it does not. As you can see, it doesn't really do anything. You place down more armor stands, absolutely nothing is gonna happen. Although the shield did move. Maybe there is some glitchiness. Yeah, look at that, that guy has the sword now. Can we get that sword off of him? It doesn't look like you can actually get the sword off of him. Oh, he's holding double things now. Okay, yeah. So purely a visual glitch. It's a lot of weirdness and a lot of bugginess. And I've actually done a whole nother episode on armor stands and all the weirdness that they have going on. And if you're interested in all of the weirdness that they have, definitely check it out, because these guys are very, very weird on the Bedrock edition. I feel like they're almost sentient. There's even one more massive, massive bug with these guys. So if we go ahead and just give them some more invisibility and then log out of the game, we will see some truly terrifying things when we log back in. So let's load it back up and see what happens. So now that we're back in the game, you can see some truly terrifying things. So we have a massive shield over here, and this is very laggy. But yeah, we got a massive shield, and we have a massive, massive totem of undying, and also what looks to be the sides of a diamond. Yeah, so this is basically all the things that our armor stands are holding, but they're just utterly massive. You can see the top of my head right there. So I don't know how something like this gets through to the game, but how does this even happen? Like, I have the biggest shield in the entire world, and you can see the totem a little bit better. Yeah. Oh, that is ridiculous. If we go back down, we should see the shield. Yeah. So that is just utterly ridiculous. Like, this is just so weird. How does this happen? Why does this happen? I don't even know. So moving on from the weeping stands, we have another very annoying bug, and this has to do with the press T return or controller D-pad right to open chat. This little message that pops up in chat should only ever show up once when you actually load the game. Instead, what it does is it happens every time you travel from one dimension to another, such as from the nether to the overworld, or from the overworld to the nether. That message will pop up every single time, and this also happens when going to and from the end dimension, and if you die in another dimension and load back in the overworld, then you'll still get that message again. Very annoying. It basically spams you with it, and it's not very cool. I'm not a fan of it. It's really annoying, especially when you die to an ender dragon 20 times and your entire chat is just full of these things. I mean, look at that. It's way too many. So yeah, that's probably the most annoying bug. Would appreciate it if you upvote the bug report down below. Again, this was confirmed by developers to actually be a bug. So this next one is either slightly annoying or actually pretty useful to you, depending on your outlook on the world. So this one actually makes it so that any trade that requires 2 items, such as emeralds and arrows, or emeralds and books, will not actually consume the secondary items such as the book or the arrow over here. So if we just go ahead and click on that, and then we have to click on this again to actually trade. And as you can see, it did not take any of our arrows. This is not because we're in creative mode. As you can see, it's taking the emeralds. But if we click up here, then it actually takes the arrows. You have to click on this thing to actually not have that second item get consumed. We can also see that over here. If we click on that with the right click, it will not take any of our books, but we'll still get one in return. So if you want to abuse that, you totally can. And I pretty much guarantee that no one's going to upvote this bug report, but this is the kind of thing that always gets fixed anyway. So you may as well. The villager trading has some issues, so if they, fix one thing, they might be industrious and fix a couple more things as well. So next up, we have a really strange one having to do with Vexs that are spawned from an evoker. So this guy tried to kill this villager over here, spawned a couple of Vexs, and we're just using a command block to keep them in this one spot so I can keep an eye on these guys. And basically, these guys will never naturally die. If you know about Vexs, you know that after a couple of minutes of them being in the world, then they naturally start taking damage and just naturally start dying when they are spawned from an evoker. So that is just kind of a straightforward thing, but this has since been broken in the 1.11 update for the Bedrock edition, and this is actually quite an issue for this very specific mob because these guys fly through any block in the game, and they no longer die or despawn, so they could just be like in your caves taking up your mob cap forever. Actually, I'm not sure if these guys would take up your mob cap, but still, they're an entity in your world that's never gonna die, that's basically impossible to find. So that's kind of an issue, especially with all the new raids and stuff. There's gonna be a lot more of these guys in your world than normal. They're never gonna die, it's gonna be an issue. So I tested this on Java edition as well in 1.14.1 using the same command block setup, and they naturally died after just a little while of being in the world. So this is clearly a bug that needs to be fixed. And just a side note, this doesn't really have any relevance to anything that I've talked about, but the swords of the Vexs on Bedrock edition are just a little bit smaller than those on Java, and they also are never enchanted. So That's just like a small little thing that I noticed because I notice small little things. It's like my job is to notice things that are different between platforms, and that is a thing that is different. And next up we have a weird one where wither skeletons will actually be able to take damage and die from the wither effect. So as you can see here, we have some decay potions. I can throw one at that guy, he will take damage, and so will that guy as well. And then we can shoot this guy with a decay arrow. He's gonna start getting more wither effect as well, and we can even apply the wither effect to this guy right here, and he will start getting damaged as well. These guys can actually die from it. Now, these guys are wither skeletons. They should be completely immune to the wither effect. I tested this on Java Edition as well, and they are completely immune to the wither effect on Java, whereas they can get other natural buffs or debuffs, but not the wither effect. So this is clearly a little bit of a bug that should be fixed. And this is something that you might notice when fighting a wither on hard mode, because the withers on Bedrock actually spawn wither skeletons. So they'll spawn into the game, they'll have the wither effect already applied to them, and then they'll pretty much just die on their own, never really having a chance to kill the player because they will be withering to death. So of course, be sure to check out all the bug report links down in the description of the video and upvote them as well. That would be greatly appreciated as it has a massive impact on actually getting these things fixed in the future updates of Bedrock Edition. And if you've experienced any of these bugs or have any additional information on these bugs, then please do leave that down on the bug reports as well. That would be greatly appreciated. Seriously does help out a ton. So thank you very much for the bug tracker support as always. And that's pretty much going to do it for this video. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like. Seriously does help out the video and the channel significantly. If you want to see more of these in the future, be sure to subscribe, of course, and I'll see you guys down in the comment section and in the next one. Thank you very much for the support as always. And then there was silence.